We had some technical difficulties yesterday, which is why I was unable to join you for the morning. And I got to see some of you in the afternoon for the sustainability hour. That was a half hour yesterday. Anyway, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're here and joining us. And I think we got the kinks worked out. It wasn't me that did that. It was uh, the wonderful team and Enlightened World Network. Anyway, before we get started with today's topic of healing energy, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flowing into your lungs and flooding your bloodstream and nourishing all your cells and your organs and bringing vital life energy. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, any stress, any negativity. And let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing, and brightening you up with a glow that radiates out and beyond. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining stress, any tension, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together and really softly, softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms just to feel how delicious that sensation is and how fortunate we are to be really present and enjoying the experience of being physical. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to be here with you on this Thursday morning. Uh, I want to talk about healing energy. That's what I was going to talk about yesterday. And it was because of a situation with Maggie, actually, that it came to mind. And so yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before yesterday, Maggie had jumped in. I had opened a cabinet and I went to close it without realizing that she had gotten on the top of the cabinet door. And when she got on the top of the cabinet door, I had tried to close it and she shrieked. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've broken her little feet, which would have been so completely devastating, not only to her, but to me too. And so uh, what what happened was that she got a little part of the skin on the base of her foot sort of shaved off, and she wasn't bleeding. Her feet seem to be fine, but it was very, very alarming, I can say. So I want to let you know, by the way, that I'm not seeing your comments. If I'm not responding, it's because I don't see them yet. Hopefully, we've got everything working. I think we do. Anyway, so what I did with her was I did some energy work with her, and I thought, wow, this is a great topic for all of us. Her foot is good. She's not favoring it very much today, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And so the thing about healing energy is that we all have it because we're all energetic beings. And the thing is that not everybody knows how to access it. I'm quite sure that a number of you have experienced Reiki attunements and probably other kinds of healing modalities. But for those of you who haven't, you too can access this incredible energy. Maggie, she's eating the plant, which is one of her favorite things to do. Here she comes. Anyway, so one of the easiest ways to get attuned to this energy that we all have the ability to transmit is to start by rubbing your hands vigorously together. And as you do that, you're building up some friction between your hands, maybe a little bit of heat. And once you do that, you can hold your hands as if you're holding a ball, and your hands should be vibrating at this point from rubbing them together. And as you imagine this ball held between your hands, you can compress it. Try compressing it, and you'll feel maybe a greater intensity of the magnetism between your hands. You can also expand that ball. You can expand it and pull it out to be bigger, and you can feel that. And maybe by pushing that ball and pulling that ball a bit, you can expand and contract it. And what it does is potentially intensify that energy. And you may feel it as heat, you may feel it as tingling, you may feel it as a temperature shift. Maybe it's like it feels like a vibrating. It might feel somewhat magnetic. And the amazing thing about this is that if you're around somebody else, if they were to put their hand between your hands, between those, the field that you're creating and the outer field, to move from the inner to the outer, that they too would experience a shift. They would feel that energy. And I first had the occasion to discover this energy when years and years and years ago, lots of years ago, I attended a training. At the time it was called Silva Mind Control. I believe it's evolved to the Silva Healing Method. But what it taught us was that we have access to presence on different levels. I think that's where I learned it. Anyway, when I discovered this energy, I went home and my hands were buzzing, and I went and I zapped my plants, and my plants loved it. You could see, like in a matter of a day or two, they just perked up and were very, very happy with that energy. Now, a lot of us, as I said, again, I'm not seeing any comments. So if you're hearing me and you're seeing me and I'm not, and you're adding comments and I'm not responding, please don't take it personally. It's because I don't see them. So, you know what I might do is I'm going to close out of Restream and come back into it and see if that helps. But anyway, uh, as far as this healing energy, one of the things that as if we're going to be using this energy, one of the things we want to be alert to is not using our store of energy, not pushing that energy from our own store of energy. Instead, rather than being sort of a closed vessel, what we can do is we can create ourselves as a channel for the energy, for like a universal energy. So how we can do that is, instead of pushing the energy through our hands, we can imagine pulling in from the sky and pulling in from the earth, and then allowing that energy to pull in into our heart even, and then move from there into our arms and through our hands. And what you'll find is that the energy then increases, it becomes more intensified as it moves out through your hands. and and that way there's no depletion, because one of the things that happens, to be alert to, if you're using your energy, if you're in a closed sort of system pushing your own energy, what happens is that you create a vacuum. At least this is my imagining of it. And so please don't take this as fact, experiment. This is my hypothesis, working hypothesis. But what happens is, because I've seen it happen with myself and with lots of other people, is that when you're using your own energy from a closed system, you're pushing out all this energy. And then what happens is, when you stop pushing that energy, it's created a vacuum, and you're sucking in other kinds of energies around. In one instance, that may be the case where you're taking on whatever the other person had that you were working to clear for them, or with them. And that happens a lot, where healers end up with the thing that they were trying to um, facilitate the healing of in someone else. And that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you to take it on, for sure. It may help the other person temporarily, but if you're debilitating yourself, that's not really an acceptable path, right? So I I suggest that you might want to be um, you might want to be considering uh, the importance of just being a conduit for this energy. Okay, so I lost my train of thought, but I'll get it back in a second. So the other thing that can happen is that if you're in a closed system, you also could be just really depleting yourself, even if you don't get the backwash, so to speak, from the other person. You may just be depleting your own energy. And when that happens, again, you're debilitated. So that's not healthy for you as a healer person. And it's also it's not sustainable. So I just want to say again that I'm not seeing any of your comments, so that's why I'm not responding. I apologize. I don't know what the issue is. We were having problems with Zoom, and I'm seeing that we are streaming, and I everything looks like it was normal, but no comments. Anyway, so I have to tell you another awesome, awesome Maggie story. She's doing really well, by the way, with her foot. And I learned to always, before I close the door, to always look to see if she's at the top of it. But yesterday, I was taking my mom to a doctor for a checkup, and I I had to go out all day. So before I left, I put Maggie in her very large cage, so she has all kinds of space to move around in there. It's not the same as flying around the house, but still. And I came home in the evening, and I walk over to the cage saying, "Hi, hi, hi," and no bird in the cage. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did I forget? Did I leave a door open? What happened to the bird? What could have happened? And I'm standing there looking at the cage and just trying to figure this out, because it looks like all the doors in the cage are closed. And I look over to the right, and there's Maggie sitting on this piece of furniture where she has full view of me, looking at her, looking at the cage, totally perplexed. And I am sure she was just laughing her tail off. And anyway, when I saw her, then she came over to me, and what she had done is she pried one of these little doors open just enough that she could squeeze out from under it. And I just would have loved, loved, loved to have been a fly on the wall watching her figure out how to Houdini herself out of this cage. So that's a Maggie story. But anyway, uh, I really miss having you guys commenting, because I I so enjoy our interaction and our dialogue, and I'm sure you guys have amazing stories around healing, and your exploits with healing. It just occurred to me that maybe I can see it if I go on Facebook. Um, anyway, maybe I can see your comments that way. Let's try that. Anyway, so as far as this healing thing goes, um, I've had all kinds of experiences with it, and I'm sure you have as well. It would be wonderful if you could share them. And I'm not seeing us on Enlightened World Network right now. I'm not seeing this broadcast, and but everything I see here is showing me that I am live, so I'm very confused. Um, I would think that it would be the homepage of Enlightened World Network would be showing that there was something live happening now, but apparently it's not. This is crazy. So, you know what? I think what I'm going to do is is try going live maybe on Restream directly. So let's see if that works. Let's try it. It says I'm already live streaming. So I guess I am. I'll tell you what. Did you ever have the experience, like I fought technology and technology won? Like this is it's very perplexing. In any case, uh as we talk about this healing stuff and this energy work, Maggie, Maggie, come here, baby. Maggie, hold on one second. I have to grab her because she's killing this plant. So the thing about this energy and focusing this energy is that we get better and better at it the more we do it. So initially, maybe you really have to rub your hands together and, really focus and put your attention on it and play with it. But the more that you do, the more readily it flows. And again, pulling from the sky and pulling from the earth into your heart, and then allowing that energy to move out through your hands, you will feel it, and you will have that tingling or that temperature sensation, and it's really quite remarkable. As I'm sitting here right now, my hands are tingling more and more, and sometimes they'll get really hot, and you might experience in the process of doing some of this energy work. First of all, don't have an intention. Only have the intention to share the energy with permission, obviously. But the thing is that uh, when I've done this with my cat, sometimes the energy is too intense for her and she just stops. Or there'll be a point where she'll just stay with that energy and then it's done. And actually, early on with Maggie, there's another healing with Maggie adventure. Um, I did not know. I heard that you're not supposed to cook with Teflon because it can be very, very, it can be deadly for birds. Well, after having her for a few days, I had um, a stainless, wrought iron pan that overheated, and the apartment got smoky. And what happened was Maggie started having trouble breathing, and she was sitting on my keyboard and almost falling over from like closing her eyes and almost falling over. She was in a bad way. Her nose was bubbling. The little nostril holes in her nose were bubbling, and it was terrifying. And I spent a while with her, just with healing energy. And so the thing about that is that, as I said, it's not an intention other than sending that energy, because you need to, whoever you're sending it to needs to be able to receive it. And so Maggie just sat in my hands for a long time. And I found an avian vet, and the next morning, Maggie was better, and it was remarkable. And the avian vet said, well, if she made it through the night, that's a really good sign. But I believe that she really had responded to that energy. Um, it's important not to not to have not to be trying to dictate how that energy gets used, because there's the wisdom of whoever it is who's receiving that energy to be able to utilize it within their body. So there's probably a greater intelligence than we might have access to. Like I sent the energy to Maggie for her to use to heal in whatever way she could. And really, all healing is self healing in its way. And when we receive energy, then if we're allowing ourselves to be healed by that energy, it's because that we're allowing it to flow to where it's needed. And I don't presume to have that kind of knowledge. And by the way, Lisa, if you're here with us, I again, I'm apologizing for not being able to see your comments. If you're here with us, I want to thank you for the bird tips about not petting Maggie on her back or under her wings. I found out. Who knew that that's a sexual turn on for birds if you pet them on their back and under their wings. So now I did my research, and I learned that I can be petting her on her head, I can pet her on her belly, and I can play with her feet. So you can see that she's quite happy, even though she had that foot injury yesterday. She's doing pretty well here. You can see. Anyway, uh, I miss you guys. I'm here all by myself. So I know I'm not, but it feels that way. And I am gonna figure it out. We'll keep on trying till we get it right, right? Anyway, um, I'm just trying to think of this other, when we work with this energy with ourselves, when we're in pain, for instance, using this energy from our hands is really, really powerful. That was one of the first things I learned, actually. I used to, when I had period cramps, I would use the healing energy from my hands on the place where I felt pain and discomfort, and it would relieve it oftentimes. Now, what I've learned is really powerful is to be putting our attention, when it's our own sensation, to be putting our attention on the sensation without resistance or judgment. And that's kind of the key, is without resistance or judgment. And the same thing when we're moving this energy, we can move it through our hands. We can also move it by putting our attention on the place of the energy without intending to move it. Just be with the energy, allow it to be. And as you allow it to be without resistance, it tends to dissipate and shift and move. And what I notice is that sensation will move from one place to another place that seems unrelated. And I've talked about this before, about how when we can create a connection between those points, at least in our visualization or in our minds, where we have one point of sensation, another point of sensation, and ideally a third point, then when you connect them, it's sort of a constellation that starts dissolving things. And then those points will move. There'll be other points that come to your awareness to put your attention on. And our attention is energy as well. So by focusing our attention, we are focusing energy. And so we have these remarkable abilities to shift not only our physiology, but but to help energize other physiology to shift, whether it's a person or a pet or a plant. And it's really, really quite remarkable and empowering, and enables us to recognize that there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. And that's something that intrigues me and has always intrigued and inspired me to explore and learn more. And well, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'll call it quits. I miss you guys. Um, I will check in Facebook to see if this thing actually posted, and also to see your comments and if it did. And I look forward to getting the technology glitches figured out so we can play together at the same time again sometime very, very soon. So lots of love to you. If you are seeing this, you might want to join us on the Sustainability Now movie night tonight. If you go to sustainabilitynow.global and sign up for our email list, you'll receive a notification of our movie night tonight. And in that email will be a link for you to register. Tonight is called biofermentation from food waste to plant food. And it's really, really a cool process that's been developed by a guy named Mike Cox, who has used the fermentation process to create incredible food soil supplements and plant food from food waste. And uh, it's very, very interesting and hopeful, because food waste is one of the, I think it's the third most prevalent producer of CO2 emissions. And if we can have productive ways to uh, transform food waste and use it as a fuel for other wonderful things, then we're creating more of a circular and certainly much more sustainable practice. So I hope you'll join us. And in the meantime, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. This is Maggie, if you hadn't met her before. And I encourage you to check out the other wonderful programming on the Enlightened World Network, multiple pages. So until next time, so much love to you. And I look forward to being able to be back here again with you sometime soon.